Greetings, fleshy mammals, and welcome back to a brand new Naruto Boruto Shinobi Striker build video. Today we're going to be putting together an extremely high damage range type build. Now, when I was putting this one together, I did not expect it to do as much damage as it does, but oh my god, you melt health bars with this build. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go!
I'll erase you here.
Alright, so starting things off with the weapon, of course, I would go with my trusty Kusanagi sword, the Orochimaru version. Now, it doesn't really matter which version of the Kusanagi sword you use. You can use the standard one or the Orochimaru one. It doesn't really matter because they both have the same exact combos and the same exact stats. Now, the reasoning why I went with this one over all of the other weapons that the range type has is, well, it actually has the most reach out of all of the weapons that the range type has at its disposal, and I actually really do love the combos. It's got 3 damage, 4 range, 3 speed, and a 3 hit rate, so it's pretty average when it comes to its stats. The big thing for me, though, is definitely the reach that you get on it, because I don't really like getting these really stubby combos, which is why I like the combos for the Kusanagi sword to begin with. I don't like being stubby. So, yeah, that's my reasoning for using the Kusanagi sword. Just a lot of things work with the Kusanagi sword combos, so it's just a win-win situation either way. Alright, moving on to the ninja tool, I decided to go with the Demon Wind Shuriken. Now, if you want to have longer combos and extend your combos, you can go with the Senbon if you really want to, but I went with the Demon Wind Shuriken for 2 big reasons, and they are, it's got very, very good damage output. You can get up to a Jutsu's worth of damage with it, which is actually extremely good. And the final reason why I use the Demon Wind Shuriken is because I like to be very cheeky and just knock people off the map. This happens quite frequently on the Cloud Village and the Sand Village maps, where you can just throw it at someone when they're trying to recover off an edge, and it'll end up, you know, making them fall to their death, and it's pretty much a free kill, and that's why I like to use it. I just like to throw it down at people when they're trying to recover and stuff like that. It's just a very easy thing to do, and you get a free kill out of it, so why not? Alright, moving on to the skills. The first skill that you're going to want to be looking for is the boost ninjutsu damage. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It basically just boosts the damage that your jutsus do. So basically, you're doing more damage. And as a range type, that's very important because your main source of damage is your ninjutsu. You're going to be doing a ton of damage with your ninjutsu, and you're going to be wanting to use them as often as possible, which is why we're boosting the damage of those ninjutsu. The second skill that you're going to want to be looking for is the, of course, shortens ninjutsu cooldown time. This one is pretty much on the majority of my builds, and that is because as a range type player, I like to have my cooldowns extremely low, and it's very, very helpful to have your ninjutsu ready as fast as possible when you're a range type, because you're going to be using them a lot, so you might as well be able to throw them out a lot. The third and final skill is completely up to you. This one takes up your accessory slot. Now, as per usual, I went with the shortens respawn time. Now, if I just so happen to fall off the map, get hit by an ultimate, or just die flat out, I'll be able to get back into the fight a lot faster than other players, which allows me to go back into the battle and continue doing giant bursts of damage at the opponents. So generally, it's just a very good thing to have. So this one is completely up to you. So yeah, moving on. All right, moving on to the ninjutsu. The first ninjutsu that I decided to go with is Majestic Destroyer Flame. Now this one comes with Madara, so you're gonna have to train up with Madara or buy the Madara DLC or whatever. Basically, it is an extremely powerful jutsu, okay? This shit is probably one of the strongest range type attacks in the game, okay? It's got a 16-second cooldown, and with the decreased cooldowns, it actually drops it down to 13 seconds, which is insane. So you're going to be able to throw out this jutsu every 13 seconds. Now, this jutsu actually has 3 attack power and full range. On top of that, it's got extremely good tracking, and it is giant. And as an added bonus, it actually breaks Sand Shield as well. So basically, you're doing tons of damage, you're breaking Sand Shield, a low cooldown, and I almost forgot to mention this, it actually has a burning effect as well. So after you hit the person, after you hit your opponent, it actually burns them after they get hit. So you get continued damage over time as well. So it's a very, very good jutsu in my opinion. I highly recommend using it on this build. It's extremely good. Alright, so moving on to the second ninjutsu, I decided to go with the Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Now, it doesn't really have any real special abilities like some of the other jutsu, but it is a starter jutsu, so everybody has it. It's got 2 in the damage category, so basically you're doing pretty normal damage for your jutsus, but we are increasing the damage with this build, so you're doing pretty good damage with this jutsu. On top of that, like I already said, it's got really, really good tracking, and if used correctly, you can actually hit multiple people with it at a time. Its cooldown is actually 10 seconds, but with the decreased cooldown, you actually have it at 8 seconds. So you're going to have this jutsu ready every 8 seconds, and you're going to be able to do a lot of damage in a short amount of time just using this jutsu, especially if you use Majestic Destroyer Flame and then Phoenix Flower Jutsu or vice versa, because that's going to wipe health bars, especially considering the fact that Majestic Destroyer Flame does damage over time, and then on top of that you're hitting them with another jutsu really, really quick, and it's just gonna keep going in a cycle until you kill everybody. It's just a very good jutsu in my opinion, and I like to have it there just to have that nice damage per second effect. Alright, moving on to the substitution jutsu, I decided to go with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Now this one here is just pretty standard, in my opinion, nothing really to explain here. It's got 25 seconds of cooldown, which is 5 seconds less than all of the other clone jutsus. A couple of alternatives to the standard Shadow Clone Jutsu, you can actually use the Clay Clone Jutsu, the Sand Clone Jutsu, the Wood Clone Jutsu, or if you really don't care about whether or not your opponent stays locked onto you, you can actually use the standard substitution, which is 20 seconds. So it's 5 seconds less than the Shadow Clone and 10 seconds less than all of the other clone jutsus. So I decided to go with the Shadow Clone Jutsu because it's a nice middle ground and it does what I need it to do. Nothing really more to explain about that. You can use pretty much whatever substitution you want, but I decided to go with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Moving on to the Ultimate Jutsu. Now for this build, I wanted to go with one of the Susanoo-based ultimate attacks. So in my case, the options were Susanoo Flame Control, Totsuka Blade, or Heaven Concealed. Now, in my opinion, Heaven Concealed right now is just too slow to be very effective, and Susanoo Flame Control just doesn't really hit that often. It's very good for capturing points and stuff like that, but it just doesn't kill anything. I haven't really been that successful with Susanoo Flame Control. It's cool though, but I decided to go Totsuka Blade instead because one, it lands the hit when I actually want to use it. It protects me if I'm about to die, and well, it's a Susanoo attack, so it fit the criteria. However, as an alternative, you can use Kirin Tandem Paper Bomb, Summoning Jutsu Reanimation, Shikigami Dance Storm. You can pretty much use any ultimate attack you want with this build. It really doesn't matter, but I decided to go with the Totsuka Blade because it fit my criteria and it works. So yeah. Alright guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, remember to leave a like, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. It's been casual.